Let me tell you something about a broken man. A broken man ain't weak. A broken man ain't finished. A broken man is dangerous. Because once he's down and he still decides to get back up, now that man can't be stopped. Rock bottom is a place nobody volunteers to go, but life has a way of dropping you there without asking for your permission. It's cold, lonely, and it don't come with a map. It's the kind of place that strips away everything you thought made you strong. Your title, your money, your relationships, your pride. But here's the truth that most folks won't tell you. Sometimes rock bottom is the greatest teacher you'll ever meet. When you're at the top, people smile at you, shake your hand, tell you how great you are. The applause is loud, the lights are bright, and it's easy to get caught up in the illusion that success means everything is all right. But success can be a disguise. It can make you arrogant. It can make you blind to your flaws. It can fool you into thinking you don't need help, don't need growth, don't need God. But when life breaks you, when you lose the job, the marriage, the confidence, the direction, you're forced to face the man in the mirror without any filters. You realize that all the things you thought defined you were just costumes. You learn what you're really made of. You learn how to sit in silence and still hear your soul speaking. You learn how to pray when your pride don't even want you to. And that kind of wisdom, that clarity, it don't come from the mountaintop. It comes from crawling through the valley with tears in your eyes and hope barely hanging on. A man at the top may feel powerful, but a man who's been broken and rebuilt from the bottom knows something deeper. He knows pain, he knows loss, but he also knows resilience. He's seen how fake some friends can be, how fragile money can be, how temporary applause can be. And when he gets back up, he's got a different kind of strength. One you can't buy, one you can't fake. He's no longer afraid of falling because he's been there, lived through it, and discovered he was stronger than he ever believed. Rock bottom teaches you to be grateful. Grateful for small wins, grateful for real love, grateful for peace of mind. It teaches you to stop chasing everything that shines and start chasing purpose. It teaches you that what you thought was the end of your story might just be the start of your real one. It humbles you, yes, but it also sharpens you. Makes you wiser, makes you more compassionate. Makes you stop judging folks for where they're at, because now you know what it feels like to be down and doubted. See, the man on the mountaintop may have a better view, but the man who climbed from the valley sees life through different eyes. He's seen the darkness and still chose light. He's tasted failure and still kept going. That kind of man, he doesn't just survive, he evolves. Broken doesn't mean finished. Just because life cracked you open doesn't mean your story is over. See, most people think being broken means you're useless, like a shattered piece of glass swept into the trash, but life doesn't work like that. You can be broken and still be chosen. In fact, it's often the broken ones who are picked for the biggest battles because they know what pain feels like and they know how to fight through it. Being broken is a sign that you've lived, that you've cared, that you've tried. You got hurt because you stepped into something real. Maybe it was love, maybe it was a dream, maybe it was trust, and it didn't go the way you planned. You ended up disappointed, discouraged, maybe even disgusted with yourself for believing so hard. But you being in pieces right now doesn't mean you're finished. It means you're still in the process. You're not at the end. You're just under construction. Some of the strongest people you'll ever meet are the ones who were once broken. You see them smile, you see them winning now, but you don't see the nights they cried themselves to sleep, or the mornings they didn't want to get out of bed. You don't see the prayers they whispered with trembling lips, begging God to give them one more reason to keep going. Those scars they carry, they're not signs of weakness. They're not evidence that they failed. They're proof they survived. Life has a funny way of using what we thought was going to destroy us as the very thing that builds us up. You may be limping through this season, but don't mistake a limp for defeat. You're still moving, you're still in the race. The fact that you're broken doesn't cancel your destiny. It doesn't erase your value. If anything, it adds to it, because now you've got experience, now you've got empathy, now you've got a testimony. Everybody wants to be whole. Everybody wants the pretty picture, the polished ending, the Instagram life. But it's the cracks in your soul that let the light shine through. It's the broken places that show people they're not alone. If you were perfect, nobody could relate to you. But when they see your struggle and your scars, when they see that you've been through it and you're still standing, that's where real power lies. That's when healing begins, not just for you, but for the people watching you get back up. You can be wounded and still be destined. That pain you're carrying, it doesn't make you damaged goods. It makes you real, it makes you human, and more than that, it makes you dangerous in the best way. Because now you know how to get up. Now you know how to fight back. Now you know that even when life takes everything, you've still got something left, your will to rise. God doesn't waste pain. That ache you feel deep in your chest, the kind that makes it hard to breathe, hard to sleep, hard to think straight, it's not for nothing. Every tear you've cried, every heartbreak that left you hollow, every silent night when no one knew what you were going through, none of it is wasted. It might feel like you're falling apart for no reason, like life is just piling on the pain without purpose, but there's always something working behind the scenes. What feels like chaos in your world might just be construction in heaven. There's a reason behind the wreckage. That door that slammed in your face wasn't rejection. It was redirection. That person who walked away didn't leave to hurt you. They left because their part in your story was over. It's hard to see it in the moment, but sometimes God removes things not to punish you, but to protect you. Pain has a way of stripping away what doesn't belong. It pulls away the fake, the temporary, the distractions. And when everything's stripped, when it's just you and your broken pieces, that's when the real work begins. You start asking questions you never asked before. You start digging deeper. You start praying with a new kind of desperation, a realness that only pain can produce. And God hears that. He sees every ounce of pain. He bottles every tear. He doesn't just stand back and watch you suffer. He's present in it. He's using it. He's shaping you with it. See, the lesson isn't always in the blessing. Sometimes the lesson lives inside the loss. It's in the pain that you grow. It's in the heartbreak that you begin to understand who you are, what you deserve, and what you're capable of. You begin to learn the difference between people who are for you and people who are just around you. You begin to value peace more than popularity. You begin to chase purpose instead of approval. Pain has a way of prioritizing your soul. God uses pain to prepare. He's not trying to break you down just to leave you there. He's breaking off the parts of you that can't go to the next level. He's strengthening your spirit, increasing your capacity, teaching you how to trust even when you can't trace him. That moment you felt most abandoned was the moment he was closest, because he does his best work in the dark. He does his greatest refining when nobody else is watching. You didn't cry for nothing. That lonely night wasn't empty. That breakup didn't break you. It built you. The silence wasn't absence. It was preparation. You're not being punished. You're being positioned. The pain isn't the end of your story. It's the beginning of a new chapter, one where you walk with more wisdom, more strength, more purpose, and a deeper understanding that through it all, God was using it, every bit of it, to grow you into the person you were always meant to become. You don't have to look like what you've been through. Just because life knocked you down doesn't mean you have to stay on the ground with your head hung low. Pain has a way of leaving a mark on your soul, but it doesn't have to steal your presence, your pride, or your purpose. A broken man doesn't have to walk around looking defeated. You've been hurt, sure. You've been betrayed, disappointed, overlooked, maybe even humiliated, but you still have the right to walk with your head held high. You still belong here. There's something powerful about showing up when life expected you to disappear. There's something courageous about standing tall when your world has fallen apart. You don't have to wear your wounds on your sleeve. You don't have to prove to people how hard it's been. You know what you've endured. You know what it took just to make it to today. That's enough. Dignity isn't about having everything together. It's about choosing not to let the struggle define how you carry yourself. You may have been through hell, but you don't have to look like it. Clean yourself up, not for them, for you. Get out of bed, shave your face, press your shirt, put your shoes on like you've still got somewhere to go. Because you do. You've still got purpose, even if you don't feel it right now, and showing up is the first step in reclaiming it. There's honor in effort. There's power in refusing to be counted out. When people see you smiling through the storm, they don't know the cost. They don't know the nights you cried in silence. They don't know the moments you wanted to give up. But when you walk in with strength in your step and light in your eyes, you're sending a message. Not just to the world, but to yourself. You're saying, I may be wounded, but I'm not weak. I may be tired, but I'm not done. I may be scarred, but I'm still standing. Too many people carry the weight of their past like it's their only identity, but you are more than what happened to you. You're not defined by the betrayal, the failure, the addiction, the divorce, the bankruptcy. You're defined by what you do next. You get to decide how the story continues, and sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is show up when every voice in your head says, don't bother, you still got value. You still got something to give, and maybe the reason you're still here is because somebody needs to see what resilience looks like. Somebody needs to see what healing in progress looks like. Somebody needs to see that you can come through fire and not smell like smoke. So straighten your back, look yourself in the mirror, and remind yourself who you are. Not because you're trying to impress the world, but because you owe it to yourself to rise with dignity and keep moving forward. Use the pieces to build again. Life has a way of tearing everything apart right in front of you. Your dreams, your confidence, your plans. One moment you feel like you've got it all under control, and the next, you're standing in the middle of a wreck you never saw coming. It's painful, it's unfair, and it's real. But just because your life is in pieces doesn't mean it's over. It means you've got materials. It means you've got something to work with. The same pieces that broke you can become the bricks that build you. It's easy to look at the rubble and think there's no way forward. It's easy to stare at the mess and think you've lost too much to ever recover. But that's not the truth. You don't need everything to start again. You don't need perfection, approval, or even a full blueprint. You just need the will to begin, right where you are with whatever you've got left. The pieces may not look like much to anyone else, but in your hands they carry power. They carry history. They carry every moment you survived, every tear you wiped, every time you thought you'd break but didn't. You might feel like you've lost too much, like the damage is too deep, but there's beauty in starting over. There's wisdom in being broken, because when you rebuild, you do it with stronger hands. You do it with lessons you didn't have before. You do it with clarity. You stop building for appearance and start building for substance. You stop worrying about who's watching and focus on what really matters. Peace, purpose, and wholeness. Don't wait for perfect timing. Don't wait to feel ready. Start with the brokenness, the heartache, the little courage you've got left in your chest. Start with the hurt and the history. Stack one piece on top of another. Lay one brick each day. Small efforts, steady steps. You won't rebuild everything overnight, but you'll build something real, something honest. Something that can stand the test of time. The pieces in your hands today might be chipped, cracked, or scarred, but they still fit into the masterpiece of your life, the mistake you made that becomes the foundation for your growth. The person who left, that pain becomes the strength behind your independence. The opportunity that fell through, that becomes the fuel that pushes you towards something greater. Nothing is wasted if you're willing to pick it up and use it. You don't need to rebuild the same life you had before. Maybe that life was too small for who you're becoming. Maybe it had to fall apart so something better could rise. You're not meant to stay in ruins. You're meant to create something new, something more powerful, more purposeful, and more aligned with who you are now. So take a breath, gather the pieces, and start building again. You've got everything you need in your hands right now. The comeback is always greater than the setback. You may be down right now, broken in more ways than one. Life might have knocked the wind out of you. Maybe you lost the job, the relationship, the dream. Maybe you're waking up every day trying to figure out how to keep going when nothing makes sense anymore. But hear this, your story ain't over. This chapter may be messy, but it's not the conclusion. This is the part of the story that sets the stage for the greatest plot twist of your life. Pain has a way of convincing you that it's permanent. It tells you this is how things will always be, but that's a lie. The setback is just a setup. What you're going through is not just about what's happening around you. It's about what's happening inside of you. Growth doesn't happen on the mountaintop. It happens in the valley, in the dark, when you're forced to dig deep and find out what you're really made of. And once you realize that your lowest moment didn't destroy you, you'll begin to see that it was only preparing you. Setbacks have a way of slowing you down, but they also have a way of making you look around. You start seeing what matters. You stop living for applause and start living for purpose. You stop chasing people and start chasing peace. And that clarity, that's the foundation of your comeback, because when you rise again, and you will, it's going to be different this time. You won't be rising just to prove something. You'll be rising with wisdom, with strength, with understanding you didn't have before. The second act is coming, and it's not going to be a quiet return. It's going to be bold. It's going to be powerful. It's going to be the kind of comeback that makes people ask, how did you survive that? And the answer will be simple, you didn't quit. You didn't stay in the pain. You kept believing even when belief was hard. You kept walking even when your feet were heavy. You kept showing up when it would have been easier to disappear. That's what makes the comeback so great. It's not just about what you gain, it's about who you become. You're not the same person you were before the setback, and that's a good thing. You're wiser now. You've learned what to hold on to and what to let go. You've seen what's fake and what's real. You've discovered that even in pieces, you still have purpose. And now, when you step back onto the scene, you're not coming back for validation. You're coming back with vision. You're not coming back to repeat the past. You're coming back to write a future that nobody saw coming. Not even you. So get ready, because when the dust settles and the light breaks through, the world won't recognize the person rising from the ashes. They'll see someone who fell, yes, but more importantly, someone who refused to stay down.